Hello and welcome back. So we are continuing the series here, building a drag car out of a Traxxas base car using a slash low center of gravity with the Bandit front and rear. We right now have the slash body mounts here. Right? I have removed the post off the front. And right now, the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install it, and I'm going to see if the body fits. So this is a continuation from the body. Again, this is targeted to people that are getting into the hobby or are planning on building a drag car for the first time. So newbies mainly. If you are very experienced, please share your knowledge with us in the comments below. So to continue, I like to start the screws here, and the reason why I'm mounting this first is I want to see how much distance I have between this mount and the body, because to be honest, I am avoiding buying more body mounts. If you are brand new, something that will probably get you into the hobby is doing the things that you like, but also saving a little bit of money, not spending too much perhaps, I guess I could say, because if you want to save money, then don't spend it. But if you still want to be part of the hobby, then you're going to spend some money, but do it as economically as possible. All right, there we go. So that front body mount is there. I removed the post, placed it on there. So I'm actually going to have to trim this, and by the looks of the body, I'm going to have to trim it right here, which means I'm going to have to drill a little tiny hole so I can tap it and then put a little screw. So I'm going to place this sideways so that you can see in the camera. Well, maybe if you can see through the Lexan. See, I really need some short post. So I'm going to go ahead and do the modifications, then tell you what the modifications are. So if you're building a drag car and you happen to use the same body, then you'll know the measurements, you'll know the shortcuts. Again, I'm trying to not spend on parts if I can avoid it, and just reuse parts from either the Slash or the Bandit if possible. That is the ultimate goal. There's a variety of tools that you can use really to cut these. For example, I'm just using these. That's it. I mean, you can use a hacksaw if you want, a sawzall, a jigsaw, a handsaw, whatever it is, just whatever's safest. Now keep in mind that if you're 10, adult supervision probably have an adult cut them for you. But if you're old enough and it's safe, keyword safe, you can use these. Now I put the blade on this side, the side of the head, and then I just lay it here, and then I'm just gonna cut, and mainly because I want that small little ridge, that little lip there, because I want just a tiny bit of material, I'm gonna drill a hole here shortly. And I'm actually gonna be keeping these and using them for something else. You're gonna see what I'm gonna be using them for. So all you do is you just place it here. The closer to the end, the more torque you're gonna have, easier it is to cut. Once it starts cutting, I'm just going to start moving forward, that's fine. And then just hold it so it doesn't fly off. But you know, nice and slow. It's not hard to cut, it's easy. I'm just cutting it nice and slow so the thing doesn't pop and fly off. And that's it. It's that simple. Again, just make sure, if it's supposed to be sharp, make sure it's sharp. Never cut with a dull blade. Never. So something that you want to do after you cut everything and you seat it, now by seat it I mean make it pretty flush, relatively flush, is you want to take a screw and then just kind of put it in the hole. This is after you've drilled it. Now I like drilling in steps, so I'll use a smaller bit first, make a hole, use that as my pilot hole, and then use the drill bit that I actually want afterwards. You make less mistakes, and if you make a mistake with a smaller hole, it's a lot easier to correct it than if you make it with a bigger hole. So again, just kind of stick a screw there before you try installing the part. And that's just to thread it so it's ready. It'll make your installation so much easier if you do this step first. Now for these, you really just need maybe a 6mm screw. You don't need anything too long. I mean, you can drive it through here and just keep pushing it to make sure it doesn't go through that hole. because then your body clip would have nowhere to go through. So this one here, see, hasn't gone through. This one's good enough. So I'm going to be using this for the front. So we'll do the fronts, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do to the rear shortly. But this is the height I need for the front. Now the front, it's pretty easy. Just flip it upside down. Place it this way. This screw's going to go in snug into this body mount. So just thread it there. So that's fine. You just place it in the hole. And, oh, this one was actually loose. Well, just grab the cap and just mate them. That's all you have to do. And I'm just gonna check, there we go, because I want the pins to go sideways. So my pins are gonna go this way. You can set them up so they go this way too if you want. I like them going this way. And the reason why I want them going across the car is if I crash, I don't want the body clip. So if I crash, I don't want the body clip to be pushed out. If you put them in this way, it'll push it out, then you'll lose them. If you put it in this way, it'll push it in this way, but then it's harder to remove, so it's a pain. That's why I like placing them across the vehicle. That's my preference, your preference, I don't know, try it out, see what you like best. Right, so this one's going to go in this hole here. This hole is actually the snug one. The other one was a little looser, but it doesn't matter. Okay, there we go. So it's in there a bit. Now I'm going to grab this other cap. Again, find the hole and mate them. That's all you do. So just make sure it's snug. Do not over tighten these. It's plastic. You're going to ruin the plastic, and I cannot emphasize that enough. Here, let's go ahead and line it up. And there we go. Perfect. And there we go. So we've got our front body mount, and this is going to fit perfectly on this body. Oops, sorry. There we go. So I'm not going to mark them quite yet. I want the rear so I can set the rear height. Then I'm going to go through and mark. All right, but here we go. That's the height I want. So that's one of the things for the front body mount. Again, if you want to spend the money, eventually when you get really deep in the hobby, you're probably going to spend a lot more money, and you're not going to mind it as much. But when you're just getting into it, every dollar counts. I mean, you're counting everything. It seems expensive. So that's why I'm telling you, try to reuse parts, save some money. Once you're in the hobby, since you already invested so much, you know, $10 doesn't seem like that much. But when you're just starting and you have to buy $600 worth of parts, $610, I mean, that $10 could be the factor that makes or breaks the deal. So first, start inexpensive and then just start upgrading. That's a recommendation whenever you get into any hobby. Unless you have the cash to go and spend big, and that works too. Now we're going to work on the rear. Flip the car, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for the rear. Now the rear tires are wobbling because I actually didn't tighten them all the way. They were just kind of on there just for the purpose of the body. So don't worry if it wobbles. Now you're going to have leftover hardware, so just grab some of the longer screws. And what I'm doing here is, if you remember the post, right? I cut these posts off of these mounts. I'm actually reusing them, and I'm attaching them to the rear shock tower. And I'm doing this for the rear body mounting post. Now I've already done this side. I'm putting in a screw here, so I'm taking one of the longer screws that came in, and I'm actually threading it through. These are thicker than the stock ones that come in. The stock ones are a little thinner, so I want just a bit longer, thicker screw to go through, just for a little more strength, because the rear part of the body, that's where the wing is going to go, and if it flips, I mean, that's a part that takes pretty large impact just because of the design, the wing, etc. That's if you're running a wing. But still, right, the rear end is pretty heavy. This is where your drivetrain is. You're going to have your battery. But if you think of this part versus this part, most of your weight is probably going to be back here. That's the reason why. Now, again, these are already drilled and tapped. So we're going to go through, set it there, and I'm going to start screwing it in. So just going to screw it. And here we go. And perfect again. Snug. Do not over tighten it. It's plastic. You're going to ruin it. Can't emphasize that enough. Now, for the body mount, you're actually going to have to cut at least the right side. Remember, there's always a right side. And the reason why I added these is to move the rear mount back. When I set the body sits around here. If I had left this mount where it was originally, I would have to drill back here where the rear windshield is. And this isn't a flat surface, so it's actually a pain, because then I would have to grind this out and the clips. I mean, if you can see the problem with these, they go forward and back, so they go front to rear. And that's a problem to put them here in the windshield. So I would have to cut them and then turn them and put a screw in there. It's a pain. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm just going to move it back so I can drill over here, and then I can stick the body clips. And that's it. So this is just going to sit right back here. But again, you have to trim this side. So I would just cut the bottom two. You really do not need them. So just get rid of those bottom two holes. And then when you cut, make sure you cut flush down to here. You don't want any extra material. And the reason why is so you still have room to put the cover on there. I will be putting the cover. I like running it with the cover. I don't like little stunts getting in there. And again, when you cut it, use a tool that's appropriate. Do not use the body scissors on that plastic. That's a big no-no. And the reason why is because those are made for Lexan, which is a thinner material. This is a lot thicker. You're going to ruin your body scissors, so don't do it. Not to mention, you could probably end up cutting yourself accidentally. So keep that in mind. Every tool has its purpose. Use it for its purpose. Use it, don't abuse it. All right? Tools are supposed to be your friend. Take care of them. And now, all I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the top mounts. So I'm just going to go through the top holes and mount it there. Alright. So I'll just have the screw stick out just a little bit. And I'm going to try to line it up with the hole. There we go. And here we go. So let's just screw on. And again, you want it snug. So here we go. And now we do the other side. Now I'm holding it like this just to hold the mount stable. That's why I'm putting my fingers like this, because then I can control this mount, and where the screw goes. So that's why I like holding on to the shock tower, this spacer that I made, and the body mount. So that is almost done. There you go. All right, good. See? And that is perfect. So this is the natural flex from it. Actually, this has a little more to go. I just saw a little bit of daylight. So there we go. Well, good enough. All right. So this is the natural flex. So this will be strong enough to hold the body. And that's it. So that's the way it looks from the rear, as you can see, right? That's the way it looks from the front. And that's the way. So those were the posts that were originally in the front. Now, the front mount, this is the way it looks, right? I just cut the top heads off. And then I just drilled a little hole, and I used, I believe it was a 6mm screw in the front. That's it. All right. So now comes the fun part. Actually, it's all been fun. So now I'm going to put the body again. So you present the body, and you're going to try to line up the body as best you can. So you see how now they're on the flat surface, the rear ones? That's what I wanted. And this is the important part. So here you want to make sure you align the body, not just front to back, but also side to side. So the wheels have to go inside. After I drill the body, you're going to see that the wheels are not going to be perfect on the wheel well, but it doesn't matter because they're not going to be exposed. They're actually going to be in the body. So after you've measured twice, you can go ahead and just cut once. But first we need to mark where we're going to cut. So that being said, front looks good and the rear looks good. So it's time to mark it up. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a Sharpie and I'm just going to make a dot. Whoa, it's a horrible pulse. There we go, dot 1. Dot 2, 3, and 4. All right, and now we're ready to ream the body, and for that you're going to need a body reamer. Now you could use a drill bit. I don't like to. I prefer body reamers. They're meant for this. They are quite sharp, so be careful. It's the one I'm using, so this is a reamer. So I explained it's like a cone that cuts. That's all a reamer is. So now I'm just going to take the body off. Let me remove the car from the tabletop. And here we go. So I'm just going to place this on the dot. Do not put your hand directly under it. I'm just going to use my fingers to apply pressure, but notice I'm leaving a gap in between. And I'm just slowly going to press and turn, and you are going to turn to the right, which is clockwise. And I'm going to go ahead and ream. Usually you want to go to the 6. There's numbers here. So if you look at the numbers, so you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I'll go to the 5. Might go 6.5. So you can just use the numbers on there to measure the depth. And then you just cut, cut, cut. Don't go too fast because you're going to mess up the Lexan. I'll grab a little piece of Lexan of what I had over, scrap Lexan, and then I'll show you what happens. But if you do it just nice and slow, be patient, you're going to get just a beautiful round hole in there. If you go too fast, you're putting too much pressure in. Let's say this is the Lexan. Just need to get it started. If you go too fast, you're going to end up doing that. And you're not going to get a perfect hole. It's going to be kind of offset. I don't even know what that is. It's some form of polygon. But it's not a square, it's not a hole. Then you have to try to fix it, but it'll still look horrible, and then you're just going to end up with a much bigger hole than you intended to begin with. So just take it slow. Take it slow. It's all about being just patient, taking your time. Now this hole here actually looks kind of small. So I'm just going to do them all, and then I'm going to set them on the body post, and I'm going to see if they fit or not. So if I have to make them bigger, I'll make them bigger. Always, if you think it's too small, that's fine. Don't try to make the hole as big as possible. Just try to make the hole, if it seems small, just measure again, try it out, see if it's good enough, or if you do have to use the reamer again to ream a larger hole. Because if the hole is too big, you cannot add Lexan to it. I guess you can use the duct tape method. That's about it. And here we go. All right. So we have the next one. now that we have all 4 holes, I mean, you can see they're slightly different sizes, the fronts are. But now you just pick up your car again. We're just going to try to set the body on. And there we go. All right, so we see that this hole probably needs a little reaming. That one, I'm going to ream these just a tad more. This one really needs to be larger. That one's fine. I'm going to leave that one. So I'm going to remove the body. See how it got stuck? Yeah, body shouldn't get stuck like that. So let's go ahead and ream again. So it's mainly this one. And remember, it's not by much. So we're just going to remove that bit of material. Fine. This one, just a tad more. It's fine. This one I need a lot more. Let's see. Oh yes, definitely. So I'm actually reaming down. It's down to a 6 actually. So I finished at 6. There we go. Again, invest in a good quality body reamer. It'll make your life easier when you have to do this. But other than that, once you have this, you can just set the body on top and there you go. So these clips would go this way, these clips will go that way. I may have to just ream a little hole here on the body just so the clip can go through. But you know, we'll go ahead and try it out and see if that's the case. And if that's the case, then that's what we will do. But here we go. We're going to try them. All right, so we have that. Perfect. And the rear. Perfect. Now, something that I'm going to recommend, if you want to remove these easily, just take a little tie strap. Just put a little tie strap here. Just leave a little bit of the end, and then you can just pull on the tie strap. I mean, you can also put a string on there. That's fine. But let's see. Okay. So there I'd have to make a little hole, and that's fine. So again, just mark it, and then you know where to go. Don't try to guess. I mean, something you could do, I guess, you could move the body clip and it'll leave a mark. I'd rather use a pen though. Oh, actually it left a pretty good mark. I like it. Still gonna put a mark. There we go. And let's do the other one. So here we go. And perfect. So now let's do that. Alright, good. So now there's a little mark. Alright. And notice I'm marking from the top, not the bottom. The reason why I'm marking the top is because that's where the protected film is. So once I take the film off, that mark is no longer going to be there, and that's the reason why. So all of this on top is just a protective film, as you're going to be able to read there. Step 2, you remove it. All right, good. So now I get the body reamer again, and I'm just going to make some tiny little holes so that the body clips can go through. And the holes are made, so now the body clip will be able to go through, but I'm going to see if I have to make another one because of this other part. So let's go ahead and seat the body. There we go. And let's see, actually that is good enough, but I could make another hole there. And I'm going to go ahead and do it because I want it done right. Don't want to struggle with body clips being too loose. That's the reason why. So let's go again. And because I'm making the hole on a particular side, whenever I put the body clips in, they will always have to go this way. So I will not be able to flip them the other way unless I want to make another hole, which to be honest, I don't feel like it. So I will just make sure that the body clips always go in the same direction all of the time. Alright, and here is the body. So the body is ready to go. It's clipped on. This is the way it's going to sit. So we have this here, and like I said, I mean, this wheel's going to go inside, so if I flip it, I don't have body clips. It's not going to hit the body. There's actually a gap in there. So you will be clear. But that's it. This is able to turn without hitting the body, so the front end is not going to hit the body when it turns or when the wheels compress, because as you can see, it goes toward the rear, so it's never going to hit the front. I know it looks close, but it's never going to hit. There's actually quite a lot of space in there. But that's it. This is the underside of the body. The way it looks like. Like I said, you can get a slash bumper, just place it here, trim it, just so you have something there. I'm not going to do that. I've decided as of now that I'm just going to end up mounting this plate right here. This is the plate from the Bandit, and it's just to protect that brace. But other than that, this is the body. Now we just need to prep it. So again, I'm going to wash it with Dawn, clean with soap, tape it up, and I'm going to get it ready for paint. Well, thank you very much. Other than that, go ahead and comment below, hit that bell, subscribe, like, dislike, and I'll see you for the next one as we're going to continue this series. Thank you so much for watching.